Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Lawback. I want to take a few moments and go over this government pretest intro research activity. So the whole idea of this activity is that since we are starting American government class, I think it's important for us to know going in some of the documents, some of the key people nowadays and historically, and some of the key items that we will talk about frequently throughout the year in American government. So as you look at this document, the items that are in red are the answers, and the items that are in black are the questions, of course. So we'll go over each one of these items. So which historical document created the United States? That would be the Declaration of Independence, actually created the name. That was in 1776, of course. Number two, what does the U.S. Constitution do? It sets up the government, it limits the power of the government, and it provides for individual rights and states' rights, and what the federal government can do and what the federal government cannot do. Federal meaning national government. Who is considered the father of the Constitution? That would be James Madison. He wrote the majority of the Constitution. The U.S. has a federal form of government. This is also known as federalism. What does this mean? This means that the power of the government is divided between the national level, the U.S. level, that's also referred to as the federal level, the state level, Pennsylvania, out in Harrisburg, and the local level, Narberth Borough and Lower Merion Township, and then Lower Merion School District. The U.S. is a republic. What does this mean? A lot of people call the United States a democracy, which it is, but a republic is a more accurate description. It is a state in which the supreme power is held by the people and their elected representatives, and which has an elected or nominated president rather than a monarch. So we elect people that represent us on a daily basis. That is what makes us a republic. There are two chambers of Congress, the House of Reps and the Senate. They are collectively called Congress. We have a bicameral legislature, meaning two chambers. In the Senate, we have a total of 100 members. Every state gets two, no matter how big or small. In the House of Reps, there's 435 members. This is determined by population. As an example, Pennsylvania gets 18 representatives. Every state gets at least one representative. The three branches of government, the legislative branch, which creates the laws, that's the House and the Senate. The executive branch, that's the president and the executive agencies. They carry out the laws or execute the laws. The judicial branch, which is made up of the Supreme Court of the United States, known as SCOTUS, and the inferior courts. So the courts interpret the laws and determine if someone broke the laws or if the laws are constitutional or not. What is the name of the first 10 amendments of the Constitution? They are referred to as the Bill of Rights. There are a total of 27 amendments to the Constitution, first 10 again being the Bill of Rights. Who is considered the father of the Declaration of Independence? That would be Thomas Jefferson. So it was actually written by a committee of four gentlemen, including Benjamin Franklin. But the father of the Declaration of Independence is Thomas Jefferson. Put the following documents in chronological order. So you've got the Declaration of Independence, which was written in 1776 and ratified. The Articles of Confederation, which was the first constitution. That was 1781. So that was ratified and was the law of the land while the Revolutionary War was still going on. And then in 1789, you had the U.S. Constitution. It was written in 1787, but it was ratified in 1789. Now, back to the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, which rights are guaranteed to all citizens: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to assemble or gather, freedom of the press, the media, and the freedom to petition the government or write letters to the government or to visit the government or to nowadays contact government officials digitally. A lot of people see the First Amendment rights as the most American of the freedoms and rights and liberties. The U.S. has a dual court system. What does this mean? It means that we have two courts. We have state courts. Every state has a court system, but Pennsylvania has a state court system, as does New Jersey, as does Delaware. And then there's the federal court system. This is for the entire United States. How many U.S. Supreme Court justices are there on the Supreme Court? There are 9. Name 4 of them. These are all 9 of them, so you will have at least 4 of these. John Roberts, who's also the Chief Justice. Amy Coney Barrett, who is the most recent justice that has been approved by the Senate. Stephen Breyer, Samuel Anthony Alito, Clarence Thomas, Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, Brett Kavanaugh, and Neil Gorsuch. Who has the power to do the following things in the federal government? To declare war, and only the federal or national government can declare war. That's the legislative branch. Raising taxes. Taxes must be created by the legislative branch or Congress. Declaring laws unconstitutional. This is the role of the judicial branch. Pardoning federal criminals. This is the executive branch. Enforcing federal laws, that's the executive branch, the president and all of the executive agencies. Leading the military, that would be the executive branch. So the military is part of the executive branch, and the president is known as the commander-in-chief as well, the leader of the military. Name the two political ideologies in the United States. That would be liberal and conservative. Liberals consider left, conservatives consider right. Most Americans are moderates, meaning they are in the middle, but the two main ideologies are liberal and conservative. And liberals generally think there should be more government involvement in people's life and a more active government. Conservatives tend to think the government should be smaller and less intrusive in people's lives. And moderates have some liberal and some conservative viewpoints. The two main political parties in our country right now are the Democrats and Republicans. The U.S. has a two-party system. Although that is not official, that's the way it has always worked out. It hasn't always been the Democrats and Republicans, but right now the Democrats and Republicans are the two major parties. There are minor parties like the Green Party, the Constitution Law Party, the Reform Party. Democrats are more liberal and the Republicans are more conservative in most cases. Explain how our country determines who will be the president. We use the Electoral College system, so it is not a direct election. In short, the Electoral College system means that every state gets a number of electoral votes of their Senate and their House members, and it is a winner-take-all. So if you win the popular vote in a given state, you win all of that state's electoral votes. So the citizens do not elect the president directly by a popular vote. And again, this electoral college system is very controversial because you can have a president lose the popular vote but still win the presidency, which happened recently with Donald Trump and George W. Bush. Who currently holds the following positions? Your two U.S. senators, every state gets two. Pat Toomey is a Republican. Bob Casey Jr. is a Democrat. Your House of Reps members, Madeline Dean and Mary Gay Scanlon, they are both Democrats. It depends where you live in Lower Merion Township who is your House of Reps member. The Vice President is Kamala Harris. She is a Democrat, of course. The President is Joe Biden. The Speaker of the House, who is a leader of the House of Reps, is Nancy Pelosi. She is of the Majority Party Democrat. The Senate Majority Leader is Chuck Schumer from New York. He is a Democrat. Nancy Pelosi is from California. And then you have Mitch McConnell, who is the Senate Minority Leader, who is a Republican. He is from Kentucky. The Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court is John Roberts. He was appointed by George W. Bush as the Chief Justice. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken. Secretary of Defense, Lloyd J. Austin. Secretary of the Treasury, Janet Yellen. The U.S. Attorney General, Merrick Garland. The chairperson of the Fed, or the Federal Reserve, is Jerome Powell. Here's some information about Pennsylvania. Again, we have a federal form of government, so we have a national level, federal level, and then we also have a state level. So for Pennsylvania, who is the governor? The governor of Pennsylvania is Tom Wolf. He is a Democrat. The capital of Pennsylvania is Harrisburg. It's about an hour and a half away west. What is the county seat or capital of Montgomery County? Lower Merion Township and Narberth Borough are situated in Montgomery County. The county seat is Norristown. That's where the county courthouse is. And the county level government, which would be local level government, many of the offices and agencies are centered in Norristown. What are the two municipalities that make up Lower Merion School District? Narberth Borough and Lower Merion Township. So if you go to Lower Merion School District, you either live in Narberth Borough or you live in Lower Merion Township. And they are two separate municipalities or two separate local governments, although the two governments do act together on a lot of items. So this was an overview of the government, and this is information that I'm hoping will be helpful as we begin American government class for this year. A copy of this document is also on Blackboard.